This guy's expanding his YouTube channel, but God forbid anybody else does it.
I've waited an hour, 20 minutes for you to say the dumbest thing with respect, Patrick. That is not an analogy.
Every time
that
you say the dumbest things is when you get cornered. What do you mean you're expanding?
That is the worst analogy.
Mehdi Hasan recently appeared on Patrick Bet David's show for a debate, and during the discussion, Patrick Bet David ended up making one of the most absurd arguments I've heard in quite some time, which is saying a lot considering he's such a loyal MAGA supporter. We're going to go through several moments from this debate where Mehdi Hasan thoroughly breaks down Patrick Bet David's arguments and leaves very little room for any real defense. It's a fascinating exchange that you definitely won't want to miss. I'll also be giving my own analysis and reactions along the way, so let's get right into it and see exactly what happened.
Are you making more money or less money right now?
I'm making more money.
That's good. There's nothing wrong. We should be proud of it.
Did I say that? That's not my definition.
But here's where I'm going with this. In the last couple of years since you've been private, how many opportunities have you had to do deals with people?
Many.
Many. When you're on the call, do you know their motives?
No.
Their motives are typically beneficial to who?
Themselves.
Themselves. Is that something that you and I would be surprised with? No. Why are you here today? Why do I have you on today? It's going to be a good show for us. Why are you on here today? You don't live down the street. You came. There's a motive.
Yes.
Both of us have a motive, so both of us are winning from this exchange that we have. Okay.
Understood.
In that sense, the way they negotiate, then it goes to who's the better negotiator. Then it goes to who gave up more. Then it goes to all the other stuff that you got to go through, and you got to make adjustments.
Well, Trump is a horrible negotiator, and as Benjamin Netanyahu said, these are Benjamin Netanyahu's words. For 40 years, I've dreamt of attacking Iran. He's the only president who would listen to me. Those are Netanyahu's words. I'm paraphrasing.
For 40 years, Trump
Every president said no.
In 1987, he would go and take over Carrick Island. He said that in 85. You make it seem like this guy's not an independent thinker.
Well, he's not independent.
Trump said that in 85.
Hold on. He also said, none of us knew they would hit the Strait of Hormuz. None of us knew they would hit the Gulf countries. You idiot. Everyone knew this.
You can't give him credit that he said this 40 years ago.
Yeah, I don't know how he got that one thing consistent.
Oh, yeah, I don't know how this one thing he did. I don't know how he came back and
Patrick,
won
you keep asking me to give him credit.
Yeah.
The Iran war, you praised him on day one of the Iran war. Would you accept today it's been an absolute disaster? Because Donald Trump is not a war leader. He doesn't understand foreign policy. He doesn't understand what he just said this week. I'm bored. You know what he said this week? I'm bored of all this.
Mehdi,
like a child.
Mehdi, let me tell you what it is. You know, I have a local doctor I want you to go see. He specializes in TDS. And I think you would work very well with him. Over a 6-month period, he'll be able to get rid of your TDS.
I have a guy who's a psychologist, and he deals with cult members.
Yep.
And I think he'll do well with you guys who can't get out of the Trump cult.
See the difference?
I asked you, I gave you an opportunity in front of the audience to criticize Trump on Iran. You can't do it.
I will.
It's been a disaster.
Can I tell you?
Please.
The difference between you and I is I will sit there and I'll give credit and I'll criticize.
I'll give him credit. What should I give him credit for?
I am more supportive of him than you are.
What should I give him credit for?
Because the longer you're a capitalist, you're going to want somebody that's pro-capitalism.
The economy is horrific under him.
Because
my business is doing badly because of him.
It's
because of the war? Who started the war? He did.
I take ownership that he started the war.
So when you say give him credit,
can I finish? You're going to allow me to finish my thought?
Please.
Did you give him credit with Venezuela?
No, of course not. Illegal action.
So that's also no.
He broke international law, American law, the Constitution.
So that's a no for you as well.
He killed a grandmother.
Let me ask you a question.
And he brought this guy into a court case that he might lose.
If they take over Cuba, would that be a victory in your eyes? So give it already criticism up front.
You think I'm supporting? You want me to come here to Florida and support imperialism? You support imperialism.
So you
support just invading other countries.
So you go back, criminal. Well, how the hell do you think America got so big? What do you think they did? It was an expansionist James Polk ideology of let's go out and buy all these other places.
Was there international law, the UN Charter, the Geneva Conventions at the time?
But you're sitting here complaining about something like this where you're living in a country, it's because of the byproduct of the visionaries previous to us that they made it what it is today. Why do you feel so safe here?
Bizarre argument.
Why do you feel so safe here?
Because we once got Alaska, we should go conquer Cuba.
No, that's not what I tell them.
Sounds like it.
If they're expanding, I don't mind an expansionist president. You
like imperialism. So how are you different to the IRGC?
I don't mind an expansion.
How are you different to the IRGC? Everyone says
Islamic Revolutionary Guard. Everything is above. God tells them what to do, and not death upon America.
They're accused of being expansionist, of trying to take over the Middle East. That's the big allegation that the Gulf states make against Iran. And yet you're sitting here saying, but we should take over the Western Hemisphere.
By the way, do you know what I would actually say?
I'm not imperialist.
Let me ask you a question. You got how many subscribers do you have with your channel right now that are paying you?
On Substack?
On Substack.
I'm not going to say that number.
Let's say it's 100,000 people.
Okay.
There you go.
It's not, sadly.
Okay, but let's just say you have 50 to 100,000 people. You're doing well. You're making good money. Okay. Have you taken any viewership from anybody else?
What do you mean?
Are people watching you that used to watch somebody else on YouTube? What an expansionist you are. What a shameful expansionist capitalist.
I've been with you for 1 hour, 20 minutes.
This guy's expanding his YouTube channel, but God forbid anybody else does it.
I've waited an hour, 20 minutes for you to say the dumbest thing with respect, Patrick. That is not an analogy.
Every time you say the dumbest things is when you get cornered. What do you mean you're expanding?
That is the worst analogy.
You're expanding.
Did I go into the New York Times? Hold on. Let's
you're
take your
expanding.
analogy. Did I walk into the New York Times and abduct the editor-in-chief of the New York Times, put a bag over his head,
do you have any employees?
Like I mentioned earlier, have you heard a more ridiculous argument lately than the one Patrick Bet-David is making here? Mehdi Hasan is already clearly getting the better of Patrick Bet-David in this debate, but this takes the conversation to a completely different level. We hear weak and questionable arguments from MAGA personalities all the time, but this comparison stands out for all the wrong reasons. As we'll talk about in a moment, does Patrick Bet-David genuinely believe that invading or bombing another country is comparable to a business acquisition? There are hardly any meaningful similarities between those two situations that a reasonable person would seriously use as a comparison. But before I get too far ahead, let's hear a little more of what Mehdi Hasan has to say, and then I'll come back with some additional thoughts.
Do you have any employees?
Yes.
How many of them came volunteer? How many of them did you recruit and hire away from another company?
How many of them did I get with a gun and a special forces team? You're making a ridiculous analogy.
Oh my goodness.
Expand as a business. That's the same as illegally occupying other people's land.
What la-la land are you living in? Like, what do you think happened to this world?
World of law.
What do you think happened to this world?
You do realize the problem that the MAGA folks have when they say this is you lose any credibility to criticize anyone else. You can't criticize Iran then. You can't criticize Hamas.
And I don't.
You don't criticize Hamas?
No, I don't criticize. If you're able to expand.
So if Hamas goes into Israel, you're for that?
It's not about if I'm for that or not. If you're able to successfully do it, that's your vision. I know I have to defend against it. What do you think companies do? How do you think companies work? What do you think companies are supposed to do?
I think it's insane that you're comparing business expansion to us going around the world killing people.
Mehdi, why do you think we have military? For what? Ourselves. Against what?
Threats.
Against another one.
You want to be the threat.
I'm not saying that.
You think Cuba's trying to expand right now?
No.
You think Cuba's trying to expand? Where are they expanding to? Miami?
No.
You've been living in Miami too long.
By the way, maybe
I think you've been drinking too much Miami water.
I actually rarely go to Miami. Maybe that's their fault. Maybe that's their fault.
What's their fault?
Maybe their ideology, communism, created a poor country and their people want something better.
But that doesn't give us the right to go and take over the country.
How do you think all this stuff happened in history?
Okay, lots of things happened in history that weren't right.
Yeah, but guess what?
This is 2026.
Dude, you understand. You've taken market share from other people. Your viewers were somebody else's viewers that came to you.
So you support, so you want just to be clear, you want some kind of law of the jungle where might is right, power.
What do you think the law is?
You're fine.
What do you think the law is?
I noticed you don't answer any question.
No.
It's a very simple question. Yes or no? Do you support a law of the jungle where might is right?
Do you believe in non-compete?
You can't answer a question with a question. You have to answer the question. Do you support a might is right view where law of the jungle, whoever's powerful gets to do what they want?
I'm trying to find, I'll answer it for you. I'm trying to find out what other law of the land you think we live in. Help me understand.
We have domestic law. We have international law. We have criminal law. I don't know where you're living.
What do you use?
You've been in Florida far too long.
Using Patrick Bet-David's own logic, or what seems like a complete lack of logic, imagine someone walked up to him and said, "We're taking control of your company." If Patrick replied, "My business isn't for sale, I have no intention of selling it," and the other person responded, "We're not interested in buying it, we're taking it by force, your opinion doesn't matter, we'll send in armed people or use whatever force is needed, and once we're done, the company will be ours." That's essentially the kind of reasoning Patrick Bet-David appears to be defending in this discussion, but somehow I doubt he would accept that if it happened to him. I imagine he would immediately expect the law to step in and protect both him and his business. He would probably argue that nobody has the right to take what belongs to him simply because they happen to be stronger or more powerful. If we're going to apply his argument consistently, then any larger competitor could just walk in, take over his company, and he would be forced to say, "Well, I guess that's just how the world works. You're stronger than I am." That's the natural conclusion of this kind of argument. In my opinion, that's basically what Patrick Bet-David is saying here, and it's incredibly difficult to take seriously. I can only imagine Mehdi Hasan leaving that exchange thinking, "I already knew these arguments weren't very strong, but I had no idea they were this weak."
ChatGPT or do you use Claude? Which do you use more?
Probably ChatGPT more.
ChatGPT more than Claude? Okay. Do you know when it first started who had the biggest market share?
ChatGPT.
Who do you think's killing it right now?
Claude.
Claude's picking it up. Why?
Because they invaded another country, kidnapped the president?
Because they produced a better product.
And this
is why...
Did Amade, what's the guy's name? Dario Amade? What's his name? The guy who runs club. Did he go into Sam Altman's house in the middle of the night, take Sam Altman and his wife, put bags on their heads, and fly them back to his compound, and kill a grandmother in the process?
The only difference is that, but war is next.
That is the big difference, Patrick. I can't believe you don't see it.
No, I understand what you're saying in the argument of that, but the reality of it is, which is what?
A law of the jungle where the might is right. Do you support a world? Do you like living in a world? Are you pro? Do you support the idea of living in a world where powerful countries should be able to do what they want?
Can I ask you a question? What country?
You keep answering the question.
Why do you live in America? Why do you live in America?
Because I like the law. You know what I like about the US?
It's the most powerful.
No.
Go live in Iran.
No.
Go live in Iraq.
I don't live here because it's the most powerful country.
Why do you live here?
Because many reasons. One is it's a country that's governed by laws, principles, free speech.
Yes.
I love the First Amendment, the Constitution.
Yeah.
I don't favor presidents and people who say we should just break the law because we
I didn't say break the law.
What do you mean? Taking over Cuba is breaking the law. UN Charter. That's the law of the land.
If they come and they try to take over.
Who's coming?
Whoever it is. Trump's already talking about it. Rubio's already talking about it.
The Cubans are not taking over anything.
No, Cubans are not taking over anything.
We are launching a war of aggression, like the Nazis. Nuremberg called it. You know what the Nuremberg Tribunal called a war of aggression?
I'm assuming.
The supreme international war crime.
Is it fair to say you were against tariffs on day one?
Yes.
I was for tariffs. Guess what Supreme Court ruled?
It's terrible.
Okay, great. Yeah. Guess what? You just.
Okay.
That's what happened. If they go...
You want to live in a world where Trump says, F the Supreme Court, and that's what J.D. Vance has said on the record.
Not at all.
J.D. Vance has said this on the record. But you just said you want powerful people
but let me
get to do what they want.
Look, let me tell you.
Said it. Everyone
today,
can watch it.
Trump's the president, okay? A few years ago, Biden was the president. In 2028, AOC could be the president. Newsom could be the president. Rubio could be the president. Somebody else could be the president, right? Every time the opposing side is the president, the opposing side thinks it's the end of the world. What ends up happening to America? What ends up happening?
Bad things.
No, not necessarily. Eventually goes back to normalcy. And it's like, I'm going to go
I look at the Trump first term and I see 500,000 people killed from COVID because he couldn't handle a pandemic.
But do you know why, though? What protects America the way it does?
I would argue our laws, constitution, principles, history.
I like
and you're saying I want to throw it all out.
No, but
have an imperialist nation.
If a leader comes in that is a visionary leader that wants to expand and grow, and he can do it within his terms, and Supreme Court and law allows it, I don't mind him doing that.
First of all, the Supreme Court law doesn't allow it. Venezuela was unconstitutional. Congress declares war in this country.
Yeah, then if that's the case, well, we saw that with the 60-day rule with Iran.
He's violated that.
I understand that. And they're working around that right now in different ways.
American law. What about...
So what Patrick Bet-David seems to be arguing here is that if someone like AOC became president and managed to pass policies he strongly opposes, whether that's Medicare for all or completely ending military aid and funding to Israel, and somehow those decisions survived every legal challenge and were upheld by the courts, then he should simply accept it and move on. Now, of course, this is an entirely hypothetical scenario and not something that is likely to happen, but if we're following Patrick's logic, wouldn't that be the conclusion? He would have to say, I don't agree with it, I don't like it, but that's the reality, and maybe another president will come along one day and change it. That seems to be the standard he's applying in this discussion. The broader implication is that if a president is able to do something and the courts allow it to stand, then it automatically becomes acceptable, regardless of whether people believe it goes against the law, constitutional principles, or long-established norms. When you take that line of reasoning to its logical conclusion, it becomes incredibly difficult to defend. History is filled with laws and court rulings that people now recognize as serious mistakes. Just because something is declared legal does not automatically make it right. That's one of the reasons Patrick Bet-David's argument felt so unbelievable to me. You almost get the sense that Mehdi Hasan was sitting there wondering, how is anyone seriously trying to defend this position? Honestly, watching Mehdi Hasan carefully break down those arguments ended up being one of the most entertaining parts of the entire debate. If you're interested in seeing the full exchange, it's available on Patrick Bet-David's PBD podcast channel and runs for well over 2 hours. There were quite a few interesting moments throughout the conversation, and I may talk about some of them in a future video, but this particular segment stood out because it perfectly showcased just how weak and strange the comparison really was. At the center of the discussion was this idea that building a successful YouTube channel is somehow comparable to invading another country, whether that's Venezuela, Cuba, or anywhere else. I honestly don't see the connection, and Mehdi Hasan clearly didn't see it either. Maybe that comparison makes sense within Patrick Bet-David's worldview, but from an outside perspective, it feels like a massive leap in logic. Let me know what you think in the comments. Do you agree with Patrick Bet-David's comparison, or do you think Mehdi Hasan was right to push back against it? If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share your thoughts below. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.